And we're live. Greetings, friends. Welcome. On Sundays, we sinister. Except when we don't. We're going to have a movie night tonight. I apologize for last night. I couldn't, the events of the weekend caught up with me, and I was too upset to stream. What a weekend, wasn't it? J Lash with the thumbs ups. Appreciate you, friend. Thumbs up to J Lash. Miko Herptile is here and says, hello, superantonio and Sadie. Hello, mods. Morning/evening, everyone. Another new week yet again. And it couldn't come a moment too soon, Miko. Appreciate you, friend. David V63 is here as well. And I appreciate you, David. Thank you for being here early. Appreciate having a mod here to control all these unruly bastards in the chat. Miko says, hey, J-Lash, David, and Chrissy. David has a lizard emoticon for Miko and says, there he is, and there she is for Sadie. Yes, Sadie's here. Chrissy V74 says, hello, all. Greetings, Chrissy. Happy Sunday. We were going to do a Sinister Sunday about Aleister Crowley, but I had this slideshow set up for the Hateful Eight. So I thought we'd do a Sunday movie night. Something light, something distracting after the events of the weekend. Cloudy says, howdy, y'all. Greetings, Cloudy. I was so upset last night. I was very, very angry. I was ashamed to be an American. That's not who we are as a country. This isn't a political channel, and I don't care. I don't care who you vote for or who you sleep with. It's none of my business. But even if it was the other guy, I would have been upset. I would have been angry. I was especially angry at the response of the mainstream media. But I don't want to talk about it. I don't, even though that's all I did last night, in my mind, at least. Lost 3 subs, 3 followers on Xwitter. What's that about? Just tweeting my support. So yeah, follow me on Xwitter at Red Super Antonio so we can make up that gap. What was I going to say? Yeah, that was bad. And I'm glad that he's all right. And it's scary to think that it was just that we were a millimeter away from civil war almost. It's horrifying to think. Just a turn of your head, just turning your head to look at something, and that would freak me out. And he played golf today. I would be done for the week, for the month. I would drop out. I don't know how many brushes with death I've personally had, that I've been like completely aware of. Certainly nothing that dramatic. Suppose with a car crash or something, or like not a car crash, but like near accidents. But yeah, I was very proud. I was very proud of that fist pump. He's a natural showman, but it made for a great picture. Cloudy says, I was in shock yesterday. Yeah, I was. I apologize for not streaming, but I didn't want to talk about it. I was too angry. And yeah, so I just watched a bunch of live streams and got angrier and angrier and more upset. And this one, bless her little dog heart, she knew I was upset. She knew something was wrong. So I'm just sitting there on the couch getting angrier and angrier, and she comes up and gives me one of her tennis balls. And so and then she brought me her tug of war rope. And so she did her best to make me feel better. Cloudy says, lots of people were making disgusting jokes. Yeah, absolutely. That's another thing that upset me. It's like somebody died. Apart from, the I don't think we're allowed to say what he is. You're not allowed to say that word. I guarantee the algorithm will not let you say that the A word from the Blank Nation of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. I can't remember. Anyways, yeah, you can't say that. I'm sure you can't say that Blank Nation word. Anyways, I don't want to talk about that tonight. 9 viewers in the chat, welcome. Tonight we are going to be discussing Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. Quite possibly, well, not possibly, it is my favorite favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. I do love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I think that will be known as his greatest work, no matter what he comes up with next. But for me personally, The Hateful Eight is my favorite movie of his, and I have a slideshow for you as we talk about it. I did want to mention that we're going to kind of spoil the story, but the story in a Quentin Tarantino movie isn't as important as the journey he takes you on to get there, and the dialogue. And regrettably, we're not going to really be talking about the dialogue. J-Lash says, yes, extremely pissed off yesterday, barely slept. Same here. I don't like living in that kind of world, that kind of country. It's yeah, it made me very angry. I'm still angry, but we're not going to talk about that now. I do have tomorrow's Marston Mondays is completely peaceful. There's no conflict. There's not even a routine condor inspection. It's just riding around, a little bit of fishing. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. But at any rate, let's talk a little bit about The Hateful Eight. To quote Wikipedia, The Hateful Eight is a 2015 American Western film written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It stars Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Walton Goggins, Damian Bichir, Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, and Bruce Dern as 8 dubious strangers who seek refuge from a blizzard in a stagecoach stopover sometime after the American Civil War. Tarantino announced the film in November 2013. He had conceived of it as a novel and a sequel to his 2012 film Django Unchained before deciding to make it a standalone film. The script leaked in January 2014. After the script leaked in January 2014, he decided to abandon the production and publish it as a novel instead. I would read that novel. In April 2014, Tarantino directed a live reading of the script at the United Artists Theater in Los Angeles before reconsidering a new draft and resuming the project. Filming began in January 2015 near Telluride, Colorado. Italian composer Ennio Morricone composed the original score, which he won an Oscar for. His first complete Western score in 34 years, and the last before his death in 2020. And his first for a high-profile Hollywood production film since 2000, and his first and only original score for a Tarantino film. Bazzaro's here. Bazzaro's is my favorite Tarantino movie. Mine as well. Distributed by the Weinstein Company, yeah, that Weinstein, in the United States, The Hateful Eight was released in December 25th, 2015, and a limited roadshow release on 70mm film before expanding wide theatrically 5 days later. The film was praised for its direction, screenplay, score, cinematography, and performances, though the depiction of race relations and the violent treatment of Lee's character divided opinions. Well, it wouldn't be a Tarantino movie if it didn't divide opinions. It has grossed over $156 million worldwide for his work on the score. Morricone, Ennio Morricone is wrote the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly soundtrack, as well as all of Sergio Leone's soundtracks. So that theme, that's Ennio Morricone. He won his only Academy Award for Best Original Score after 5 previous nominations. The film also earned an Oscar nominations for Best Supporting Actress, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Best Cinematography by Robert Richardson. In 2019, a re-edited version of the film was released as a 4-episode miniseries on Netflix with the subtitle extended version, which I highly recommend. I wish they would release that on DVD or Blu-ray. The Hateful Eight is Tarantino's final collaboration with the Weinstein Company following the allegations of bath lady abuse against Harvey Weinstein in 2017. Moving on to the plot. In 1877, bounty hunter and Union Army veteran Major Marquis Warren heads to Red Rock, Wyoming territory with 3 bounty corpses. His horse gives out and, faced with a blizzard, Warren hitches a ride on a stagecoach driven by O.B. Jackson. Aboard is a bounty hunter, John Ruth, the hangman, handcuffed to a fugitive, crazy Daisy Domergue, whom he is taking to Red Rock to be hanged. Warren and Ruth had previously bonded over Warren's personal letter from Abraham Lincoln. Chris Mannix, played by Walton Goggins, whose father Erskine led a lost cause militia called Mannix's Marauders, claims to be Red Rock's new sheriff and joins them. During the trip, Ruth learns about the Confederate bounty on Warren's head for breaking out and setting fire to a prisoner of war camp. They seek refuge from the blizzard at Minnie's haberdashery, tended by Bob, a Mexican who claims to be watching the haberdashery in Minnie's and her husband's, Sweet Dave's, absence. The lodge shelters local hangman Oswaldo Mowbray, Cowboy Joe Gage, and Confederate General Sanford Smithers, who is planning to erect a cenotaph for his missing son, Chester Charles. Suspicious, Ruth disarms all but Warren. While Mannix recognizes Smithers as a war hero, Warren wants him dead as revenge for ordering the execution of black prisoners of war at Baton Rouge. At dinner, Mannix surmises that the Lincoln letter is false. Warren responds to Ruth's disappointment by saying his forged letter buys him leeway with whites. After a small talk, Warren puts one of his guns next to Smithers and claims that he, claims that he bath-ladied and murdered Smithers' son, who had tried to claim the bounty. When Smithers reaches for the gun, Warren PewDiePies him, cancels him. During the confrontation, the coffee is poisoned, which Daisy silently witnessed. Ruth and O.B. drink the coffee. O.B. dies, and Daisy kills the dying Ruth with his own gun. Warren disarms Daisy, leaving her shackled to Ruth's corpse, and holds the others at gunpoint except Mannix, who nearly drank the poisoned coffee himself. Warren deduces with evidence that Bob is lying about looking after the haberdashery and kills him. When Warren threatens to kill Daisy, Gage admits that he poisoned the coffee. An unknown man hiding under the floorboards shoots Warren in the groin, and Mowbray and Mannix shoot and wound one another. It's a lot like Cowboy Reservoir Dogs, in the sense that you can't trust anyone, and it's all filmed in one room. Quentin Tarantino has talked about turning this into a stage play, and it would work perfectly as a stage play. A flashback shows Bob, Mowbray, and Gage and Daisy's brother Jody, cameo by Channing Tatum, arriving at the lodge hours earlier. They killed Minnie, Sweet Dave, and all the employees and customers except Smithers, who they spared to create a believable setting in exchange for his silence. Once they finished hiding the bodies, cleaning the store, and hiding weapons for future use, Jody hid in the cellar as Ruth, Daisy, O.B., Warren, and Mannix arrived. In the present, Warren and Mannix, both seriously injured, hold Daisy, Gage, and Mowbray at gunpoint. When they threaten to kill Daisy, Jody surrenders and is executed by Warren. The surviving gang members claim 15 hired guns are waiting in Red Rock and offer a deal. If Mannix kills Warren, they will spare him and allow him to collect the bounty on the dying Mowbray and the deceased Bob, whose real names are revealed as English Pete Hickox and Marco the Mexican, respectively. Warren kills Hickox when he tries to persuade Mannix. Warren and Mannix then kill Gage, whose real name is Grouch Douglas, when he grabs a pistol hidden under a table. Mannix hears Daisy's proposal but deduces she is lying. When Mannix faints from blood loss, Daisy hacks off Ruth's arm and goes for a gun, but Mannix reawakens and wounds her. Mannix and Warren hang Daisy from the rafters in honor of Ruth, who always brought his bounties to the gallows, which earned him the nickname the Hangman. As they lay dying, Mannix reads aloud Warren's fake Lincoln letter, complimenting its detail. I'll read you that Lincoln letter. Let me find it. Still looking. Hold on. I should have had this. Okay, here it is. Dear Marquis. I lost it. Hold on. Let me get it back again. I hope this letter finds you in good health and stead. I'm doing fine, although I wish there were more hours in the day. It's just so much to do. Time is changing slowly, but surely, and it's men like you will make a difference. Your military success is a credit not only to you, but to your race as well. I'm very proud every time I hear news of you. We still have a long way to go, but hand in hand, I know we'll get there. I just want to let you know that you're in my thoughts. Hopefully, our paths will cross in the future. Until then, I remain your friend. Old Mary Todd is calling, so I guess it must be time for bed. Respectfully, Abraham Lincoln. And then Chris Mannix goes, Old Mary Todd. That's a nice touch. And Major Marquis says, thanks. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. Everybody dies. I wanted to read you another part that I like. And it just shows the it just showcases Quentin Tarantino's talent as a writer, which he's good at filmmaking, but I believe he's a writer first. About 15 minutes have passed since we last left our characters. Joe Gage volunteered to take Smithers' dead body outside. Straws were drawn to see who'd help him. OB lost. Chris, John, Ruth, and Oswaldo had a vigorous debate about the legality of the self-defense murder that had just transpired. Major Marquis Warren, who was supremely confident about the legality of what just transpired, ignored them, sat by himself at the table, and drank brandy. Captain Chris Mannix donned the dead general's coat and joined Oswaldo in lighting the candles and lanterns. John Ruth held the door closed while waiting for Joe Gage and OB to return. Bob enjoyed a manzana roja, red apple cigarettes. Domergue, however, hasn't moved from her spot at the community dinner table since John Ruth uncuffed her. Let's go back a bit. 15 minutes ago, Major Warren shot General Smithers in front of everybody. But about 40 seconds before that, something equally important happened. But not everybody saw it. While Major Warren was captivating the crowd with tales of black Okay, I'll say it. While Major Warren was captivating the crowd with tales of black dicks and white mouths, somebody poisoned the coffee. And that and the only one to see him do it was Domergue. And that is why this chapter is called Domergue's Got a Secret. What's that about? Don't worry, I've got more to talk about. Hold on. Samuel L. Jackson played Major Marquis Warren, as you probably know. Kurt Russell as John the Hangman Ruth. Jennifer Jason Leigh as Daisy Domergue. Walton Goggins as Chris Mannix. Damian Bashir as Senor Bob. Tim Roth as Oswaldo Mowbray, the Hangman. Michael Madsen as Joe Gage. Bruce Dern as General Sanford Smithers. James Parks as Opie Jackson. Channing Tatum as Jodie Domergue. Dana Gourrier as Minnie Mink. Zoe Bell. I don't know if you know who Zoe Bell is. She was the stunt double for what's her name? Uma Thurman in Kill Bill, and she was also Lucy Lawless's stunt double in Xena, Warrior Princess. And he uses her a lot in his movies. Zoe Bell played Six Horse Judy, Gene Joris as Sweet Dave, and Lee Horsley as Ed. Moving on to production. In November 2013, writer-director Quentin Tarantino said he was working on another Western. He initially attempted the story as a novel, a sequel to his film Django Unchained, titled Django in White Hell, but realized the Django character did not fit the story. On January 11th, 2014, the title was announced as The Hateful Eight. The film was inspired by the 1960s Western TV series Bonanza, The Virginian, and The High Chaparral. Tarantino said, "Twice per season, those shows would have an episode where a bunch of outlaws would take the lead characters hostage." Sorry, phone's blowing up. They would come to the Ponderosa and hold everybody hostage or go to Judge Garth's place. Lee J. Cobb played him in The Virginian and take hostages. There would be a guest star like David Carradine, Darren McGavin, Claude Atkins, Robert Culp, Charles Bronson, or James Coburn. Serena's here. Everybody say hello to Serena. Greetings, Serena. I got your email. And I'll talk to you later. Serena says, "Hi, Antonio. I won't be at chat. I'm in hospital. I thought I'd let you know I've been in hospital since Saturday. Something to do with my heart." Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Serena. I'm very sorry. You just take it easy and know that all our thoughts and prayers and good wishes are with you. You are in our hearts, Star Hearts. Robert Culp, Charles Bronson, or James Coburn. I didn't like the storyline in a modern context, but I love it in a Western, where you could pass halfway through the show to find out there were good or bad guys, and they all had a past that was revealed. I thought, what if I did a movie starring nothing but those characters? No heroes, no Michael Landons, just a bunch of nefarious guys in a room, all telling backstories that may or may not be true. Trap those guys together in a room with a blizzard outside, give them guns, and see what happens. Production was planned for late 2014 in the winter, but after the script leaked online, Tarantino considered publishing it as a novel instead. He said he had given the script to a few trusted colleagues, including Reginald Hudlin, Michael Madsen, Bruce Dern, and Tim Roth. The version of the script featured a different ending in which Warren and Mannix attempted to kill Gage in revenge by forcing him to drink the poisoned coffee, sparking a firefight in which everyone is killed. Tarantino described his vision for the character of Daisy Domergue as a Susan Atkins of the Wild West. Madsen based Joe Gage on Peter Breck's performance in The Big Valley. Levi the Gamer says, hello, everyone. Greetings, Levi. On April 19th, 2014, Tarantino directed a live reading of the leaked script at the UA Theater in the Ace Hotel, Los Angeles. The film event was organized by the Film Independent at the LA County Museum of Art as part of a live read series and was introduced by Elvis Mitchell. He's a film critic for the New York Times, I believe. Yeah. Tarantino explained that they would read the first draft of the script and added that he was writing 2 new drafts with a different ending. The actors who joined Tarantino included Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, Bruce Dern, Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, Walton Goggins, pretty much the whole cast, Zoe Bell, Amber Tamblyn, James Parks, James Remar, and Dana Gurrier. Casting. On September 23, 2014, it was revealed that Viggo Mortensen was in discussion with Tarantino for a role in the film. Mortensen had passed on the film due to scheduling conflicts. Tarantino met with Jennifer Lawrence about portraying Daisy Domergue, but she declined due to her commitments with Joy and the Hunger Game films. On October 9th, 2014, Jennifer Jason Leigh was added to the cast to play Daisy. On November 5th, 2014, it was announced that Channing Tatum was eyeing a major role in the film. Wouldn't say he has a major role. An important role, of course. Later the same day, the Weinstein Company confirmed the cast in a press release, which would include Jackson, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Russell, Roth, Damian Bashir, Walton Goggins, Madsen, and Dern. Tatum's casting was also confirmed. In the earlier public reading of the first script, the role of Daisy Domergue had been read by Amber Tamblyn, and the role of Bob, a Frenchman rather than a Mexican, was read by Denis Menochet. At the reading, the role of Jody was read by James Remar. Regarding the cast, Tarantino said, "This is a movie where bigger movie stars wouldn't work. It needs to be an ensemble where nobody is more important than anyone else." Mama One and Papa One are here. Greetings, Mama One. Everyone say hi to Mama One and Papa One. Yeah, I apologize, Mama One. I was after the events in Butler, Pennsylvania. I was very upset, and I was too angry to live stream. And I don't want this to be a political channel. That was never my intention. I don't care who you vote for. I would like to specify that I would have been just upset if the other guy had gotten shot. It was angry. I was embarrassed for us as a country. I was embarrassed at how the mainstream media was trying to spin it. I was embarrassed at the reaction on both sides of the aisle. I'm still angry about it, and I don't want to talk about it. That's why we're talking about the Hateful Eight. Moving on to the antique guitar incident. So, I should tell you what that is. It's Daisy sees a guitar, and she's uncuffed, and she asks John Ruth if she can play it, and so she starts playing it, and quite beautifully, I may add, and singing a song about convicts going to Australia. Shout out to Australia. Let me see if I can find that. I'll read you some of the lyrics, but then she changes the lyrics at the end so that Domergue song lyrics, so that she taunts John Ruth. Jim Jones at Botany Bay. I'll read it to you. Listen for a moment, lads, and hear me tell my tale, how o'er the sea from England's shore I was condemned to sail, The jury found me guilty, sir, and the judge said he, for life, Jim Jones, I sentence you across the stormy sea. Take my tip before you ship to join the iron gang. Don't be too gay in Botany Bay, or else you'll surely hang. Or else you'll surely hang, he says. And after that, Jim Jones, high up in the gallows tree, the crows will pick your bones. This is what Serena's ancestors had to deal with. You'll have no chance of mischief there. Remember what I say. They'll flog the poachin' out of you out there in Botany Bay. Waves were high upon the seas, the wind approached in gales. I'd rather drown in misery than come to New South Wales. The waves were high upon the seas when the pirates came along, but the soldiers on our convict ship were 500 strong, full 500 strong. They opened fire and somehow drove that pirate ship away. I'd rather join that pirate ship than gone to Botany Bay. And one dark night, when everything is quiet in the town, I'll kill you bastards one and all. I'll gun the floggers down. Give them a little shot. Remember what I say. They'll yet regret they sent Jim Jones in chains to Botany Bay. And so this is the next verse. Daisy improvises. And so she goes, Now day and night the irons clang, and like poor galley slaves, toil and toil when die we must to fill dishonored graves. By and by I'll break my chains, into the bush I'll go, and you'll be dead behind me, John, when I get to Mexico. So, and she says that twice, and you'll be dead behind me, John, while I get to Mexico. And so, Kurt Russell improvises, 17 viewers in the chat, and picks up the guitar and smashes it. And it's an antique guitar. It was 150 years old. And Jennifer Jason Leigh's reaction is real. She like drops her accent. She's like speaking in her real voice. She's like, "No, what are you doing?" or something like that. It's really funny. And I think it was a Martin guitar. I don't know if you guys know your guitars, but Martin is like a premier American guitar maker. A beautiful tone to a Martin guitar. It's very distinctive. They put some kind of alchemy in their wood. I used to have a Martin guitar. But yeah, it's just. But I sold it because I don't really play acoustics, or didn't at the time. But it's a beautiful tone, and this was we'll read about it. The antique guitar incident. The guitar destroyed by Russell's character was not a prop, but an actual 1870s Martin guitar lent by the Martin Guitar Museum. According to sound producer Mark Ulano, the guitar was supposed to have been switched with a copy that could be destroyed. But this was not communicated to Russell. Everyone on the set was, quote, pretty freaked out at the guitar's destruction, and Leigh's reaction was genuine, though Tarantino was in a corner of the room with a funny curl on his lips because he got something out of the performance. Museum director Dick Boak said that the museum was not told that the script included a scene that called for the guitar being smashed and determined that it was irreplaceable. The insurance remunerated the purchase value of the guitar. As a result of the incident, the museum no longer lends props to film productions. James, no one says that. Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah, it's a great scene, especially if you know your guitars. And a quote from Dick Boak. We were informed from the director of the Martin Guitar Museum. We were informed that it was an accident on set. We assumed that a scaffolding or something had fell on it. We understand that things happen, but at the same time, we cannot take this lightly. All this about the guitar being smashed, being written into the script, and that somebody just didn't tell the actor, this is all new information to us. We didn't know anything about the script or Kurt Russell not being told that it was a priceless, irreplaceable artifact from the Martin Museum. Yeah, and the thing about, I don't know if you know guitars or like musical instruments in general, but the age of the wood will impart a different tone to the instrument. That's one of the reasons why you've heard of Stradivarius violins. That's one of the reasons why they're so prized, is because the tone of the wood has changed over time. The tone and the finish. They say there was something in the finish for the Stradivariuses, but Jennifer Jason Leigh is a decent guitar player. She's not bad. She has some chops, and I'm sure, for her part, she was enjoying, playing a 150-year-old Martin guitar. She obviously knows her guitars. Yeah, there's a great timing, Super Antonio, and there is the guitar in question. James, no one says I think Kurt Russell made a donation to the museum. Batzaro says he did. Yeah, I'd feel bad about it, but it was a great scene. Cinematographer Robert Richardson, who had worked with Tarantino on Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 and Inglourious Bastards, also Django Unchained, filmed The Hateful Eight on 85mm using 3 modern 65mm camera models. The film was transferred to 70mm for projection. Quentin Tarantino always. Mama One asks, is Sadie okay? She was very upset from last night's news because I was upset. And regrettably, I transferred that emotion over to her. And she kept bringing me tennis balls and her tug-of-war rope just to distract me. And she did it, but yeah, she's feeling fine now. She was just embarrassed at our conduct as a nation. And yeah, Quentin Tarantino always insists on filming in 70mm. Post-production, Tarantino edited 2 versions of the film, one for the Roadshow version and the other for general release. The Roadshow version runs for 2 hours and 52 minutes, including a 3-minute overture and 12-minute intermission, and has alternate takes of some scenes. That's the one you can watch on Netflix. Tarantino created 2 versions as he felt that some of the footage he shot for 70mm would not play well on smaller screens. Tarantino announced at the 2015 San Diego Comic-Con convention that Ennio Morricone would compose the score for The Hateful Eight. It is the first Western score by Morricone in 34 years, and Tarantino's first film to use an original score. Tarantino had previously used Morricone's music in Kill Bill, Death Proof, and Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained. And Morricone also wrote an original song and Kora Ki for his last, Morricone for the last, for Django Unchained. Morricone had previously made statements that he would never work with Tarantino after Django Unchained. I wonder why, but ultimately changed his mind, money, and agreed to score The Hateful Eight. According to Variety, Morricone composed the score without ever seeing the film. Tarantino confirmed that the film would also use 3 unused tracks from Morricone's original soundtrack for The Thing. Yes, I wanted to mention that. There is fan theories and Reddit theories that this movie is basically a remake of The Thing, except with cowboys. And thematically, it's exactly the same. And also, it stars Kurt Russell, who starred in John Carpenter's The Thing. It's, you're stuck in a room with a blizzard outside, and one or more of you are lying, are imposters, are not who they say they are. So it's kind of like I don't want to say a non-sci-fi version of The Thing. If this does well, this movie series format, I will do a a discussion of John Carpenter's The Thing. And even if it doesn't, I might just do it anyways because I enjoy this format. Hateful Eight grossed $54.1 million in the U.S. and worldwide for a total of $156 million. $15.7 million in opening weekend, behind Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which was at $90.2 million. There was an attempted police boycott. Why? Oh, it was a Black Lives Matter thing. I'm sure I'm allowed to say Black Lives Matter. Race issues. Tarantino told GQ that the race issues were part of his creative process and were inescapable, saying that I wasn't trying to bend over backwards in any way, shape, or form to make it socially relevant. But once I finished the script, that's when all the social relevancy started. He told The Telegraph he wrote The Hateful Eight to reflect America's fraught racial history, with the splitting of the cabinet into northern and southern sides, and a speech about the perils of frontier justice. A.O. Scott of the New York Times observed that the film rejects the Western genre's tradition of ignoring America's racial history, but felt its handling of the race issues was dumb and ill-considered, and wrote, Tarantino doesn't make films that are about race so much as he tries to burrow into the bowels of American racism with his camera and his pen. There's no way to do that and stay clean. And then the gender issues, because Daisy Domergue gets beat up. But, you know, it's like, it's a lot like Beatrix Kiddo, the bride's character, Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. You know, I mean, if you know Quentin, you know that everyone's going to get beat up. Everyone's going to get shot in the foot. You know, he's an equal opportunity, violent, sadist when it comes to his characters. Some critics expressed an unease at the treatment of the evil and sadistic Daisy Domergue character, who is subject to repeated physical and verbal abuse and finally hanged, in a sequence which, according to Mark Zoller Sates of RogerEbert.com, lingers on Daisy's death with a near pornographic fascination. Tisk, tisk. A.O. Scott felt the film mutates from an exploration of racial animus into an orgy of elaborately justified misogyny. Laura Bogart regarded the treatment of Daisy Domergue as a betrayal of the positive female characters in previous Tarantino films, such as Kill Bill. Juliet Pears wrote that compared to the stunning twists and inversions of norms that Tarantino's other works offer when presenting female characters, The Hateful Eight's sexual politics seem bleakly conservative. Daisy is feisty and highly intelligent, yet the plotline is arbitrarily stacked against her. Conversely, Courtney Bissonnette of Bust praised Tarantino's history of female characters and wrote of Domergue's treatment, "This is equality. This is what I believe. Man, this is equality, man, and it's more feminist to think that a criminal is getting treated the same despite her sex. Yes. They don't treat her like a fairy princess just because she is a woman. They treat her like a killer because she is a killer." Sophie Bessie of Bitch Flicks argued that Domergue received no special treatment as a woman, is never sexually objectified, true, and has agency over her own actions, including killing her captor. She defended the hanging scene as in the filmic tradition of villains getting what's coming to them, and that the equivalent scenes with male villains in previous Tarantino films raised no objections. However, Matthew Stogden felt that as Domergue's crimes are not explained, her status as a criminal deserving execution is not established, breaking the narrative rule of show, don't tell. Walton Goggins described the two survivors cooperating in the hanging as a symbolic step, as symbolic of a positive step to erase racism. I see it as a very uplifting, very helpful, and a big step in the right direction. A celebration as a changing of one heart and one mind. However, Sasha Stone, writing for Awards Daily, felt it was implausible for Domergue to represent, somehow, all of the evil of the South, all of the racism, all of the injustice. She's a tiny thing. There's no point in the film, or maybe one just barely, where Daisy inflicts any violence upon anyone. She was the leader of her gang. She didn't have to inflict violence. She just ordered it. And by then it could be argued that she is only desperately trying to defend herself. She is handcuffed to Kurt Russell, needing his permission to speak and eat, and then punched brutally in the face whenever she says anything. Tarantino intended the violence against Domergue to be shocking and wanted the audience's allegiances to shift during the story. He said, violence is hanging over every one of these characters like a cloak of night, so I'm not going to go, okay, that's the case for 7 of the characters, but because one is a woman, I have to treat her differently. I'm not going to do that. And yes, I would agree that it's uncomfortable watching her get beat up so much, but it's part of the movie. It's part of the story. It's part of his process. And hey, you want equal rights. That's what it's about. So quit complaining. And she gives just as good as she gets. She just uses her wits and her mind like a female gang leader of that time period would. You can't take any of these guys on in a fight. They outweigh you by at least 50 pounds. Not to mention upper body strength. All she has to rely on is her wits and her character, her devious nature, let's say. At any rate, that is what we have for the Hateful Eight. I hope you enjoyed it. What do you think? Let's hang out and talk about stuff, not about what happened yesterday. Let's talk about other stuff. I'm really sorry to hear about Serena. I really, thoughts and prayers is very cliched, but I really mean it. She's been with the channel since the start, and it just makes me really sad. Already for a pretty crappy weekend as it was. I don't like that news, but she'll get better because I'm an optimist, and she has to get better. Let's see. David, what's for dinner? Mama One, what's for dinner? Orion's Arrow says, hiya. Greetings, Orion's Arrow. Thanks for being here. Bazzaro says, as a guitarist most of my life, when I found out about it, it was heartbreaking and hilarious. Yeah, Bazzaro. I was talking earlier about how I bet, because you can really tell that Jennifer Jason Leigh is also, she has some chops. She can play guitar. So I'm sure she really enjoyed playing that guitar, that 150-year-old guitar. But I suppose, her being a movie star and everything, she probably had access to that level of, musical instruments. Bazzaro says, love and healing vibes to Serena. Mama One says, is Serena okay? Is it her grandma? No, I think she's in the hospital. It just pains me to say it. She says she's having trouble with her heart. So I'm very, I'm upset about that. And she's had problems because of the pandemic. She never fully recovered from that. So I bet it's related to that. That makes me sad. I don't mean to bring the chat down, and I don't mean to get emotional. That's why I didn't want to be in the chat. I didn't want to hop. I didn't want to go live last night because I would have just gotten emotional. Chrissy says, breakfast for dinner. I'd eat that. I love breakfast, and I love dinner. Love eggs. Um, yeah. How is everyone? How's your weekend? Other than that, I'm glad it's over. Next, David said, or Chrissy says, biscuits, gravy, sausage, eggs, and hash browns. Yeah, I'd eat that right now. And Betara says, Miss Sadie. Yes, I brought her back. She was in front of the desk. Dinner, Mama one says, dinner was chicken and dumplings made from scratch. Killed the chicken and made the roux. Also made a steamed vegetable plate. And for dessert, I made us a wonderful brownie sundae. Well, I'll tell you, I had half of my teriyaki chicken that I was going to have for lunch. And I had it in a nice bowl, made in Japan. It was one of my favorite bowls. And what was I going to say? So instead of transferring that bowl into, that teriyaki chicken, because it was in the fridge all night, and so I wanted to just give it a little heat in front of the in the microwave. So instead, I didn't feel like washing another bowl, so I just put that that bowl in the microwave, and for like 66 seconds, and brought it out, and it got too hot, and I dropped the bowl and broke it, and so immediately this one was like all over that, because there's a lot of chicken in there, and I had to lead her away and put her in her crate while I cleaned up, because there's ceramic shards everywhere, so she can't eat that. So it was very sad, because she thinks anything on the floor is hers. That's the deal. That's the way it's been since the caveman days. If it falls on the floor, it's mine. But she wasn't allowed to have that. So I had to clean it up, and then I had to mop, and then I had to get the vacuum cleaner out just to make sure I got every one of those shards, because she was going to like sniff around there. But I did find like some of the bigger pieces were unscathed, so I let her have those. So she had my lunch, and I had to make do with a tomato and cheese sandwich with lettuce, which was fine. It was delicious. I enjoyed it thoroughly. But yeah, that was my lunch. Bazzaro says, I think you and Papa One should adopt me. I'm sure you can adopt a 36-year-old with a kid. Yes, Bazzaro, we all love Mama One's dinners. Papa One says, I absolutely adore breakfast for dinner. Mama One makes a great rabbit sandwich with bacon, or I love it when she makes us elk sausage or deer sausage. When we get some, we love bear sausage or buffalo. And Papa One says, Bazzaro, I'm sure the farm dogs will be willing to share the barn. And Chrissy says, David loves breakfast for any meal. Yeah, breakfast rules. Oh, that was the other thing I had. I had some frozen, I guess they're hash browns. They're like the McDonald's hash browns, but so it's like a hash brown patty. And so I toasted one of those up in the toaster oven. So I had that too. So I kind of had breakfast for dinner, but yeah, I didn't have anything, and I didn't feel like going out, so I had to improvise. David says lunch was chili Colorado with fried eggs on top. Yeah, see? Fried egg sandwich. I did have eggs. I could have put a fried egg in there. I just didn't feel like cooking. So that was the Hateful Eight. I hope you enjoyed it. What did you think? Has everyone seen that movie? Or are you interested in seeing it now? Bazzaro says, I'm good with that. I used to camp out in our barn when I was a kid. I've had I've had bear sausage. I found it very greasy. I didn't like it. But I like that it was bear. Yeah. I have all of his movies on Blu-ray, and then I have a 4K of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. David says he's seen it. That's one reason to get Netflix is because you could stream. I think all of his movies are available on Netflix. I was watching a Taiwanese movie called The Tag Along. Have you seen that? It's a ghost story. Chrissy says my favorite of his movies was Inglourious Bastards. That is because Chrissy likes Brad Pitt. She's probably always liked Brad Pitt. Don't worry, David. You're her Brad Pitt. Anyways, the Tagalong, which was billed as Korean's best-selling, or not Korea, Taiwan's best-selling ghost story. And it's kind of like if you've seen The Ring or The Grudge, Ju-on. It's about this little girl, all in red, wears a red dress, who's a spirit. She's who like attaches herself to people, and she'll lead them away, by her hand, and you can see her on video, but you can't see her in real life. But the person that she's leading away can see her. Super scary. But it was interesting because the reason that she's doing this, she's going down into the city, is because these evil spirits live in the trees of the forest, and they keep tearing down the trees to like expand the city, and so all these evil spirits and beings are like coming into the city now, which is pretty funny, super scary. But you have to read subtitles unless you speak Taiwanese. Papa one says, hey, Mama One always loved Elvis Presley and Patrick Duffy from Dallas. She used to tell me that she would keep me on the side, LOL. I think Patrick Duffy is still alive. I don't know what he's doing these days. Too bad about Shannon Doherty. She's like super young. He's 75, 49. I'm basically retired, I'm sure. Yeah, his last credit was 2021. The Christmas Promise. He played Pops. And Papa One says to Bazzaro, if you're serious about coming down sometime, we have plenty of room for guests. Just hope you're not afraid of dogs. What else was I going to say? Yeah, then, I keep watching Jag. Bazzaro says, sounds intriguing. What's it called and what's it on? It's called The Tag Along. I don't know what the Taiwanese title is. The Tag Along. Wow, it was from 2015, and they did a Tag Along too. Yeah, super scary. When Wei becomes suspicious when his grandmother disappears from home. When he checks the cameras, he sees a little girl in red following her. When Wei goes missing, his girlfriend discovers a connection to an urban legend about the little girl in red. Yeah, super scary. I mean, if you like J-horror, it's basically the same thing. Except it's Taiwanese, and it is on Tubi, but it is also, I saw it on Amazon Prime. At any rate, that's about all I have for you tonight, friends. I appreciate you being here. I'm sorry we had such a lousy weekend. Super bad news about Serena. I really, I hope everything works out for her and she gets better. Hup, Hup, come up and say goodbye. She's under the desk. What's that about? Hup, Hup. And let's see, we shall return on our Marston Mondays. It's going to be a very peaceful, very calm, very ambient Marston Mondays with no violence at all. What's that about? Just to like, we need a break from this weekend. So that's what we're going to do before we return to our regularly scheduled programming. Shout out to the mods, David and Papa One and Chrissy V74 and Odog and Serena, of course. If you're watching on the rewatch, I wish you all the best. You take it easy and you get better. And this chat and this channel will be here for you always. Thank you, friends, for being here.